I call the member Jono Naylor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tuatahi he mihi ki te atua, nana nei ngā mea katoa. Tuarua he mihi ki te atiawa i te iwi, tēnā koutou. He mihi ki a rangatāne o Manawatu, tēnā koutou. I ngā mana, i ngā reo, kui taimai nei i tēnei wā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Mr. Speaker, it is with great pride and a sense of privilege that I rise to take my first call in this House. May I join others in congratulations to you for being elected to the post of Deputy Speaker. I want to start with some thanks and acknowledgements, for it is upon the shoulders of others that I find myself here today. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge my wife, my best friend and campaign manager, Karen. She has stood beside me for 25 years and given me encouragement, inspiration and backed me 100% in everything I've done. Your belief in me when self-doubt has at times crept in has ensured that I've stayed on track. Your energy at times has appeared endless, and you have always ensured that our household is hung together through the craziness of 6 election campaigns and everything else we have faced in life. Together we have raised 3 great kids, and wow, and it's due to your great skill and commitment that they've turned out to be amazing people. To Chloe, Luke and George, you have spent most of your lives sharing me with the public, and this has meant great sacrifice to you at times, and I don't believe that I've heard you complain once. Maybe you did it when I wasn't listening. But anyway, this journey in public life continues in a different realm now, and your support and encouragement is appreciated and not taken for granted. I want to thank my parents. I think you've done a great job. Thank you for the values you have placed within me, for raising your children to be others-focused, and for ensuring that we experience the great life filled with opportunities. I want to thank the rest of my family, including those related by marriage, for your encouragement and for being a significant part of my life. I wanted to acknowledge those others who have been instrumental in getting me here. To National Party President Peter Goodfellow, I thank you for the great advice and encouragement. To Malcolm Plimmer for encouraging me along this path. And to the local electorate teams of volunteers who put in a huge effort to help get me here. In particular, I want to acknowledge Trevor Day and Wendy Schultz for your unwavering support and a Herculean effort on the campaign trail. Finally, I want to thank and acknowledge the people of Palmerston North and the voters of New Zealand who have seen fit to place their trust in me to act in their best interests. I take this responsibility seriously and hope to repay that trust with good decision-making. Mr. Speaker, I have lived a privileged life, not because we grew up rich, we didn't. A Presbyterian minister's stipend and part-time radiography work didn't offer a great life of luxury. I'm privileged though because I grew up with a family who loved me and ensured that I could follow whatever I chose to do. I also grew up in a period of New Zealand's history where my parents had confidence that as a 5-year-old I was safe wandering around in the fire breaks and the bush behind Silverstream in the Hutt Valley with my friends. It was also a time when as 10-year-olds we could sleep in tents or huts in the backyard in West Auckland, and our parents could sleep soundly with the knowledge that we would be safe from harm. Though to be fair, I'm not sure they knew that we would then run up and down the middle of the Great North Road in the early hours of the morning pretending to be motorcycles. It was a different world to the one my children have grown up in. And while I don't want to become one of those people who hankers for the good old days, I don't want to give up hope of New Zealand once again being a place where our children can grow up safely and with confidence that they have a future here. I have to confess that I did not always make the most of the opportunities that were on offer to me. My first foray into tertiary study at Massey University was somewhat less than spectacular. In the 2 years I was there, I learned 3 things: how to play the guitar, where the Fitz was, and where everybody else who wasn't studying would be hanging out. If there was ever an argument against returning to free tertiary education with universal student allowances, my life in 1985 and 86 exemplifies it. However, following a number of years of community-based youth work, I later returned and completed my Bachelor of Social Work with honours, where I learned that well-directed effort can pay huge dividends. It was during this period in my life that I learned some other important lessons. I learned that raising a family on limited income is incredibly challenging. I learned that having one child with one on the way having a mortgage to pay and 47 cents in the bank is not a nice place to be. I'm grateful for having the support of family and friends and for having the skills required to negotiate that time and come out the other side. I also learned that having an education creates greater choices and offers more opportunities for work and for success. Since attaining my degree, I have worked as a care and protection social worker, in child and adolescent mental health, as a school guidance counsellor and as a church worker. I've had the privilege and challenge of making heartbreaking calls to remove children from their parents' care the week before Christmas, of sitting on the end of an A&E bed assessing the likelihood of a young person making a further attempt on their own life. And I've sat with families who are struggling to know what to try next to get themselves out of the pit of despair that they have found themselves in. All of these experiences have shaped me and moulded my worldview. I'm continually amazed by the strength of the human spirit, and I am challenged that whatever I may achieve in Parliament, together we must ensure that we build a society that improves outcomes for the people who live here, one that creates opportunities for all New Zealanders to reach their personal goals and dreams. Most of my working life has been about assisting others to fulfil their potential. In 2001, I shifted my focus from individuals and families to serving the community of Palmerston North through local government. For the last 7 of those 13 years, I was privileged to serve as Mayor of that great city. And while I am currently serving as a list MP, I still consider my role is to represent that city and the region of Manawatu here in Parliament. My colleague here from Southland, Todd Barclay, made reference in his maiden speech to his electorate being of a similar size to the nation of Switzerland. The closest European example I could find for Palmerston North was Monaco. Palmerston North is quite possibly the most significant city for New Zealand's future, and I do not say this lightly. One of the greatest challenges facing the world in years to come is that of food supply. Growing middle classes in Asia and Africa will demand more and more protein, and as we all know, New Zealand is exceptionally good at producing protein. However, to meet these emerging markets, our traditional products will need to be developed for changing tastes and expectations. Palmerston North houses most of our country's food research capability and has many world-leading researchers in the area of food science. In short, Mr. Speaker, while in the 1960s Burt Bacharach argued that what the world needs now is love, I would argue that what the world needs now is Palmerston North. The city is not a one-trick pony, however, and its central location is providing a great foundation for a growing logistics industry. Our tertiary education is strong, and our city is arguably the best place in New Zealand to raise a family with its balance of opportunity, accessibility and affordability. We are poised to capitalise further on our natural strengths with a regional growth study currently being undertaken jointly by the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment and the Ministry of Primary Industries. As you can tell, I am proud of my city and my region. It has been a great honour to serve Palmerston North as Mayor, and I'm proud of many of the things we have achieved during my tenure. I now want to take what I've learned in that sphere and apply it in this realm for the betterment of New Zealand. I entered my mayoralty with a simple vision that Palmerston North would be the kind of place where my children would want to raise my grandchildren. I carry the same vision for New Zealand with me into Parliament. The decision to make the transition from local to central politics is not one I've taken lightly, as I loved what I was doing and knew there was still more that could be achieved in that sphere. I don't have a history in party politics and would describe myself as a pragmatist rather than being wed to any particular ideology. So before taking a leap of faith into the unknown, I asked myself 3 questions that I knew others would be asking of me in the ensuing months. The first was, what does Parliament offer that local government doesn't? I've come to realise that much of what affects local communities is a result of decisions made here, and one of the best ways I could help my community was to try and influence those decisions. I also had a growing desire to help New Zealand develop and progress, not just Palmerston North. The second question was, why now? While I had always considered running for Parliament may be a part of my future, I did not give it serious consideration, as I had decided I would prefer to wait until my family was older. However, when I was presented with this opportunity earlier this year, I realised that they had grown up and that now was as good a time as any. I also recognised the need for our community to have a strong voice in Parliament. The third question was why join the National Party? The pragmatist in me answers this question easily, as I firmly believe that the National Party is the only party with the leadership and the ability to get the job done. But there is more to it than that. My various professional and personal experiences have taught me that what an unemployed person needs more than a benefit is a job. That what vulnerable kids need is strong and stable communities that are backed by a sustainable and growing economy. That suicidal teenagers need hope, and that families who are struggling the most deserve to get services that are targeted to their needs. I believe that this national government has shown that it is prepared to make difficult calls and take on serious issues to ensure that we all prosper and that we are building a great nation. This is a party with a wide base of support that reflects all sectors of New Zealand society. It is truly committed to all New Zealanders, and this aligns with my own personal mantra, which is that we will all do better when we are all doing better. I'm reminded of, and I would like to echo the words of the Honourable Hekia Parata, who said in her own maiden speech, "I come with high hopes of what is possible." New Zealand is an incredible place and can offer even more if we work collaboratively across the country, not by trying to be something that we are not, but by striving to be excellent at what we are already good at. I am passionate to see our nation fulfil its potential and for it to be a place that offers opportunities for people to achieve their aspirations. I want to conclude with a challenge to all of the members of this House, of which I include myself. May we never lose sight of the fact that we serve at the pleasure of New Zealanders who have trusted us to make the very best decisions we can to ensure that they prosper. May we be big enough to put aside our own agendas for the sake of the common good, and may we recognise any power or influence that we have is not ours to hold on to, but it is given to us temporarily by the people of New Zealand. We have been given a great deal, and so I believe much is expected. It is my aim to try and live up to that expectation. Finally, I will end with a quote from the late Sir James Henare. I'm not sure exactly what he was referring to when he made this statement, but I believe it captures the essence of how I feel today and provides a great challenge for us all as we move into this, the 51st term of Parliament. He said, "Ko tawhiti kei te haerenga mai, kia kore e haere tonu, he tino nui rawa o mahi, kia kore e mahi tonu." You have come too far not to go further. You have done too much not to do more. May those words echo in our hearts and challenge us as together we serve our nation. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Speaker.